the rules of decorum and procedure?
Yes, please.
Okay, you got it. This meeting will come to order. This is Shauna Kitzman, Chair of West Hartford Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. And I would like to welcome you all to the first meeting of our board in 2022. So Happy New Year. Because in-person attendance at public meetings is likely to increase the risk of transmission of COVID-19, this meeting is being conducted in accordance with Governor Lamont's Executive Order 7B, which permits municipalities to conduct public meetings virtually. Board members and some town staff are participating by WebEx, and members of the public can view the meeting live on West Hartford Community Television or on West Hartford Community Interactive Comcast Channel 5 and Frontier TV Channel 6098 or at whctv.org. This meeting is also being recorded for on-demand viewing, which will be available on the town's and library's website. Because of the virtual format, there are some special rules and procedures that I need to cover before we begin. First, I ask that all participants please mute your devices when you're not speaking. If you wish to be recognized, please raise your hand and I will call on you. If you're participating via audio only or I do not call on you and the debate is ending, then please unmute your phone and let me know so that I can recognize you. Second, pursuant to Executive Order 7B, all speakers must state their name and title each time before they speak. And third, because of the difficulty in tallying voice votes on a video conference, I will require that most votes be taken by roll. Ooh, got a little bit more here to go. For some procedural or housekeeping matters, such as approval of minutes, however, we'll proceed by unanimous consent. For these items, I will ask if there is any objection to acting on the item as indicated. If any commissioner objects, we will proceed to debate and roll call vote. If not, then motion will be adopted by unanimous consent. And I will now ask Helen Rubino-Turco to call the roll and note staff members who are present.
Thank you, Shauna. This is Helen Rubino-Turco, Director of Leisure Services and Social Services. And for this meeting, the number to call in if someone wants to make a comment during the public comment period, telephone number is 1-650-479-3208. That's 650-479-3208. And we can take the roll. Greg Schimmer. I see him present. Tanya Lowe.
Here.
See her present. Kate Eichel.
Here.
Anna Park.
Here.
Gus Melita.
Here.
Robin Collins.
Here.
I know Shauna Kitzman is here already. Steve Garneau. Steve was having some difficulty calling in or signing in. I did see him earlier, but we are missing him. And Steve Kutcher.
Here.
So other than Steve, we're all present and accounted for. I am the only staff member from the town of West Hartford attending this evening. So Shauna, you can move to item number 2.
Okay, this is Shauna Kitzman. We're going to move to item 2, adoption of the November 15th, 2021 meeting minutes, which we emailed prior to this meeting. All in favor of adopting the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Does anyone object to adopting the meeting minutes? Okay. Motion to approve. Are we good? Okay.
Yes.
Great. Okay. Shall we move on to item number 3, old business, Helen?
Certainly, thank you, Helen Rubino-Turco. And I did want to note for the record that Steve Garneau has joined us. He is muted and we can't see him, but Steve, I'm sure that we can hear you. There you go. Give it a try. We can't hear you, Steve, but hopefully you can hear us. Feel free to text me if you need to make a comment. So I'll jump right into old business. The Mayflower property update. We did, the town of West Hartford did an RFP for design firms. We had about a dozen companies contact us, answer the RFP, and this was not for designing the community center. This was for doing a feasibility study. What could be possible there, as well as a programmatic design. So what kind of activities would be there. Steve Garneau texted that he can hear us and that something's wrong with his setup. And so I would just encourage him, if he has any comments, to just text me and I can relay them to you. So we decided amongst staff and a staff committee, we've selected 5 companies to interview, and we'll be interviewing them over the course of the next couple of weeks. This would be the company that would facilitate and organize our community outreach when the time comes. So they would certainly assess what we have going and give a preliminary assessment of the kinds of activities we want, but then there would be significant community outreach. So stay tuned on that. The advisory committee on the new community center has not yet launched. The town council is still considering the membership and also the outreach to the community. However, the membership they requested be increase a bit to have the stakeholder groups be more reflective of more voices. So in addition to the perhaps 7 organizations that we had identified, we also included some more. So I will also, sorry, I should have asked before we get too deep into this, Shauna, is there someone that is willing to take the minutes for today?
Hi, this is Shauna Kitzman. I was just going to take them, Helen.
Okay, very good. So I can email you this list so you don't have to frantically write down all of the different stakeholder groups that we plan to do outreach to.
Okay, perfect.
So again, this is Helen Rubino-Turco speaking. The West Hart, this advisory committee for the new community center would include a member of the West Hartford Public Library Board, the Parks and Rec Advisory Board, which is this group, as well as some of the other ones that we had previously mentioned, the Pedestrian and Bike Safety Commission, the Senior Citizens Advisory Board, the Clean Energy Commission, the Elmwood Business Association, the Mayor's Youth Council, and several, at least 2 residents at large. We're also expanding it to include the Advisory Commission with persons with disabilities, the Commission on the Arts, and the West Hartford Chamber of Commerce, the Human Rights Commission, a board member from the Bridge Family Center, and also a representative from the West Hartford Bloomfield Health District and the West Hartford Public Schools. So this does broaden the scope of the advisory, certainly the voices of the members of the advisory committee. But it would meet probably monthly or on an as needed basis with the chosen architecture firm and with the appropriate town staff through the feasibility and the design stages of the project. So obviously we're still in the feasibility, we're not even yet in the feasibility study phase. So again, more to come on that. We are drafting an introductory letter to all of the stakeholder groups that I just mentioned that basically says, you know, we would like you to participate. We've already discussed this with this group, so we don't really have to go into it in too much more detail.
Helen, this is Shauna Kitzman speaking. It looks like Greg dropped in the chat that he's interested in, he said, representing the Parks and Rec committee for that group. But have we recommended someone in the last meeting?
Yes, sorry, Greg. I don't think it was at the last meeting. It might have been the previous one.
Okay.
We did have some interest expressed from Anna Park, who is a Parks and Rec actually professional in another town, as well as Robin Collins being a as an alternate. But we appreciate you your interest. I can see him waving his hands like no problem. Just wanted to make sure that that was okay. So then we move to, are there any questions about the timing or any other questions about the Mayflower property? Seeing none, I will continue. And I also just wanted to remind you and the public that we don't refer to this as the former St. Bridget School. This is out of, at the request of the Archdiocese, we're referring to it as the Mayflower property. Or the future site of the new Elmwood Community Center. I wanted to just give you a brief update on our capital improvement activities. I can find my notes. Eisenhower Pool, I guess, is at the top of everyone's mind and list. So we did an RFP for design for the Eisenhower Pool replacement. We chose a company to lead us through that. They are called, they're an abbreviation, NCA, Northeast Collaborative Architects out of Middletown. And their lead person on that committee is actually a West Hartford resident. So it's very nice to have that local, hi Steve, that local flavor for us. We intend to have design, they've already begun working on it. We're actually going to be visiting the Simsbury Aquatics Center, their outdoor pool this coming Thursday with some staff as well as the design team, just to see the layout of how they did it. We've also done some other preliminary work with them on the site. We intend to have designs for review probably by the end of March, beginning of April. And then we intend to put this out to bid by the end of April or the beginning of May, and awarded by the end of May. They can pretty much start June 1st. It takes about a year to build a pool. So, you know, we're trying to squeeze this in so that it is substantially complete by June 1st or even May 15th of next year, and open in the middle of June for our 2023 pool season. Are there any questions about Eisenhower Pool?
Hi, Helen, this is Shauna Kitzman. Just to clarify, was NCA the firm that did the renovations in the Simsbury Outdoor Town Pool complex?
Thank you, Shauna. This is Helen Rubino Turco responding to you. They were not, but there were some aspects of the design there that that staff had mentioned was of interest, and it had to do with the layout. So we're going to go take a look at that to see whether that's something that we actually like or whether it's something that we, you know, have less interest in. As you may have heard, the Eisenhower Pool, the funding is also up for discussion. The town council approved it to be on the bond committee, the bond commission request of 2.5 million. We don't need the whole amount, but we're part of that will cover the design, and part of it is in case, you know, inevitably if it goes over budget, we don't want to have to go back to the town council to request an additional appropriation. So the design is about 150. We're very comfortable with this company. They we really like their subcontractors, and so far we're very impressed with them. So the Eisenhower pool, that bonding is, we've been posted for 30 days, and then it'll be approved, barring any unforeseen objection.
Helen, this is Shauna Kitzman. You said the design cost is approximately $150.
Yes.
Can you break that down? Because the bond was for 2.5 million, you said.
Right. Sure. This is Helen Rubino Turco again. The contract with NCA is for $149,000. The cost to build the pool is probably about 2 million or maybe 2.2 million. So we add on another 100,000, 150,000, sorry, 150,000 for the design, and that's how you kind of get up there.
Thanks.
The next couple of projects are either in various stages of completion. The Hunter House at Westmore Park, the ramp and the front stairs are nearly complete, but they did run into weather and a delay in the one item. So that project is nearly complete, but not yet done. It's being funded by the Westmore Park Fund and by our Community Development Block Grant funding for the handicapped accessibility portion. The Kennedy Bathhouse is currently undergoing a feasibility study. We did receive some comments back from the company that kind of assessed the building, identify what needed to change, kind of try to put some numbers around that. And what we would do then is we would go out to bid or hire an architecture firm to design those changes and then put it out to bid for a contractor to undertake the renovation. That would probably happen after the 2022 pool season. That is also slated to be funded by Community Development Block Grant funding, CDBG, because of its location. It qualifies for that funding. So preparations are also underway for several pond dredging projects this winter. This is funding that should be approved tomorrow evening. I have my fingers and my toes crossed. The town council has a list of items to be funded by for ARPA, and the list is fairly lengthy, but it is on the town council agenda for tomorrow evening. And so if that's approved, there is at least one project that will probably begin in February, and that is the dredging of an irrigation pond at the Rockledge Golf Course. The other projects that we've talked about in the past still remain almost done. There's just some punch list items that need to be done at the end. So for example, the irrigation project at Kennedy Park or the post-tension concrete renovation of the basketball courts at Kennedy Park are also in various stages of being either complete, underway, or just needing some touch-up things in the spring. Would you like me to discuss some of the projects that are under the ARPA funding, or do you want to just move on to the next items?
I'm curious, this is Robin Collins. I'm curious, is the tennis courts going to be changed to pickleball anywhere as part of this monies this year?
So through Shauna, I'll answer that question for Robin. This is Helen Rubino Turco again. So the answer is yes. I'm just going to grab my ARPA file. And we do have funding that to renovate the tennis courts at the Buena Vista Recreation Complex. This is on Cornerstone Road, behind Cornerstone and sort of near the community gardens. And there are 4 tennis courts there now. And with a combination of funding that we already have in place through our capital improvement plan that we requested, plus some additional ARPA funding, we plan to renovate those 4 courts and make 2 tennis courts and 4 to 6 pickleball courts if we can fit them. We really have a wonderful new sport in our country, and it is growing in popularity in West Hartford. And we appreciate the enthusiasm and opportunity for people to recreate in a different and new way. And we did recognize that by changing 2 tennis courts at Walcott Park into 6 pickleball courts, dedicated courts. And we plan to do a similar renovation of the Buena Vista site. Unfortunately, the price came in a lot higher. They couldn't hold their price because of supply chain and increased costs. And so that's why we had to go back to get additional funding for ARPA. That's part of the request tomorrow evening to help us bridge that funding gap. The other projects that are under consideration are, as I said, a lot of pond work, pond restoration work, some other accessibility improvements to Spicebush Swamp. We have several bridges that need to be replaced in our parks. One of them is at the Miracle League, from the parking lot into the fields. Several bridges at Spicebush, and a bridge at Fernridge Park. And we also have requested funding for a variety of parks and playground enhancements, including bleachers at the Indoor Aquatic Center at Cornerstone, some sewer work, some improvements to Blanchfield Park, which you may or may not know is located in the heart of Elmwood. It's actually a public park that's across, well, it's on the northwest corner of where Trout Brook, or sorry, Quaker Lane joins the New Britain Avenue. Robin knows that area of town very well, having worked at the community center for so many years. So anyway, there are some projects that have already been funded by ARPA, including equipment upgrades at the Veterans Memorial Skating Rink. And so we're very excited to continue using these funds to help address sustainability, accessibility, and things that really will increase our quality of life in West Hartford. So we're very grateful for that opportunity for ARPA funding. We also replaced a fence at Southwood Park. That one is done. They just have to come, and they actually came. They just needed to fix the grass. So that concludes the capital improvement, I believe, part of my update. We've already pretty much covered what we're requesting for the American Rescue Plan Act, sorry, the ARPA funding. And the last part of old business is the urban tree program. So we do have a growing group of people who care a lot about trees in West Hartford, and we're calling ourselves the TAG team, the Tree Action Group. And we're not quite sure if this group is going to become, you know, a very formal town-appointed commission, or whether it's going to continue as sort of a grassroots advisory group. either attached to this body, the Parks and Rec Advisory Board, or perhaps the Friends of West Hartford Parks Foundation that Steve Kutcher is involved with. So we're just not sure what that will look like, but this group is very passionate about planting trees. We do have funding, ARPA funding, coming in the future that we have identified for a tree canopy study that would help us tell us what we already know, is that, you know, we have parts of town that need more trees. And part of that is there's an element of equity, and we want to make sure that we are encouraging all of our residents to keep trees in their yard, plant trees in their yard, and the value of trees. So when we do engage in a tree canopy study, that we also engage in a community education about the importance of trees and their role in our to keep our town sustainable and our community sustainable. So I guess more to come. We can just continue talking about trees in the future, but we are applying for some small grants to also facilitate the tree planting. Ted Gerner and his wife Carolyn are the primary drivers of the West Hartford Tree Project, or the TAG team. And they are the ones that have organized fundraising and purchasing of seedlings that they've planted for this will be the second year in a row this spring. So they planted 1,000 seedlings last spring around Arbor Day / Earth Day in April, and we plan to do the same thing this year. If anyone's interested in more, if anyone would like more information about the tree program or to become involved with that group, just let me know and I can add you to our list. We haven't had a formal meeting. We had one formal meeting, or one meeting, and we hope to have some more in the future. So moving on to new business, as you may know, in early January, we approved our fee changes for West Hartford leisure services activities. We offer a wide range of programs at lots of facilities all over town, and the fees that we charge, most of them are governed by the town council. So annually, we review what our fee structure is, and we make recommendations based on funding needs. So for example, minimum wage has been going up, and we know that we want to try and recoup some of our expenses so that we can remain competitive, or because some of our programs are in the enterprise fund, which is, as you may remember, is sort of set up like a business. So, you know, we want to make sure that we recoup our costs. So those changes were approved. The two significant ones that you may want to know about is that a round of golf went up by $1, and at both Rockvillage and Buena Vista, and obviously the fees also went up for the season passes. And also at the swimming outdoor aquatics centers, we went up by $1 for residents and for non-residents. And this, again, is really a reflection of the cost of minimum wage and the rising cost of operations. So those were approved. You know, there was no objections that we received. So that was a successful. Our winter programs are up and running, and we have had to make some minor adjustments based on the recent surge in Omicron cases in West Hartford, but it does appear to be peaking and reclining, getting better. Receding, thank you. Thank you, Shauna. So we also just, you know, we're just being really cognizant, and we pivot, as I'm sure Anna is doing in Glastonbury, and other towns are doing around us, you know, we just have to pay attention to what's going on, you know, in our region. So regarding, are there any questions about the winter programming? The spring and summer and camp programming is, if you guys can log into our website, it is now up on West Hartford Leisure Services website. So people can now go to westhartfordct.gov/leisure services and see the spring summer guide online. The registration begins February 1st at noon, but you can view the programs now and really kind of hone in on what programs you might be interested in, so that when registration opens at noon on Tuesday, February 1st, you can go and sign up. If you have any changes to your medical form or your registration forms, you can do all of that now so that you are ready. We do have some changes to our registration program, or in terms of the waivers and the medical forms. So I just want to encourage everyone to go and look at that. We've streamlined it and made it easier. Our winter fun brochure that went out in December is also available as a flippable document in case there are programs that you still want to sign up in the winter. And just a note about our spring, summer, and camp programming. They really cannot happen without part-time workers. We hire hundreds of young adults, high school and college aged people as lifeguards, camp counselors, program coordinators, maintainers, pool cashiers. Often it is the first job that someone has, and it is a rewarding job. We do pay slightly over minimum wage, which, as you know, is going up on July 1st to $14. And so we want to encourage anyone who knows anyone who is 16 or older who is interested in being a cashier or a lifeguard. We really want to encourage them to, or a camp counselor, to contact Leisure Services or go to the Leisure Services website and see about making an application. Steve Garneau has been in charge of our summer camps for many years, and he can attest to the high quality individuals that he has met and encouraged to participate over the years. And so we just want to, you know, continue that tradition and really, really encourage people to sign up for a job. And I wanted to make one small note, and that is that we do have a very famous person from West Hartford whose very first job was working for Leisure Services. And that is Michael Schur, who is the creative director of Parks and Rec and The Good Place. And he's just come out with a book that's sort of about modern ethics. And it was reviewed in the New York Times and it got a great review. And I just wanted you to realize, and all the people out there who may be listening, that it can be a very rewarding job. You never know where you're going to go if you start with Parks and Rec. So on that, I just wanted to pass the baton over to another great group of volunteers and ask Steve Kutcher, with your permission, Shauna, to call on Steve Kutcher to give us a report from the Friends of West Hartford Parks.
Okay, Steve, are you still there?
I'm here.
Okay, great. Okay,
I'm here.
go for it.
This is Steve Kutcher, and I also participate in a group called Friends of West Hartford Parks. So this is a nonprofit that was organized out of the organization Friends of Fern, which had a similar mission, which is to act as stewards and for our parks. We started with Fern Ridge and have expanded our scope recently by refiling our charter so that the group is now broadening its sort of purview to include all parks in West Hartford. And our next meeting is coming this week. I think our big push right now has to do with getting together a fundraising and also announcing our new charter and beginning fundraising towards various projects in the parks and collaborating with Helen and with the town. If there are any questions, or Helen, anything you wanted, you thought that I should mention, happy to do so.
Thank you, Steve. This is Helen Rubino Turco. So the Friends of Fern Ridge Park really, spend a lot of years focused on one park, and the time came where they really wanted to expand and really share their mission with all of West Hartford Parks. And it's also a great opportunity for us to, as a municipality and as a group of volunteers, to raise funds for our parks through a vehicle where we can get matching funds, we can apply for grants that maybe are only eligible for a nonprofit. So it's really great to have this partnership, and because it also really helps build stewardship. So by having this organization be for all West Hartford parks, they can reach out to communities that live around the various parks in our town and encourage them to get involved with their park. And we've really found that parks are safer and cleaner and healthier when there's local stewardship. And so we're really pleased to partner with the Friends of West Hartford Parks. Thank you, Steve.
My pleasure.
Can I ask a quick question? This is Shauna Kitzman. Steve, did you say you will begin fundraising this month?
So I guess we're always fundraising, but we're developing a specific plan and considering how we leverage local events, like specifically Celebrate West Hartford. We were also approached by an organization called Natural Dividends. So we're trying to find ways to collaborate with other organizations in town and then specifically target events where we'll make our announcement and kind of begin our fundraising in earnest.
Thank you.
So this is Helen Rubino Turco again. If you're on our website and you're looking at the leisure services program guide, what you can also do is click on one of the squares at the bottom for camps. And this is a brand new section of our website where we show 6 different camps with pictures and descriptions of what those camps are like. So in case you do find someone that might be interested in attending camp, they can learn more about the camps there. But if you also know someone that might be interested in working at one of these locations, they can find out more about the camp in case they wanted to target their application to one of those facilities. What you see missing on our website is something similar for parks, and that's something that I'll be working with the Friends of West Hartford Parks Foundation to create and populate with information, and we will also give them a spot on our website to post information about what they're doing that would funnel through this department. So we're excited about making some of these upgrades and changes in our communications on our website. And we are a bit behind in the park side. So I apologize for that, but that's on my radar screen to do next. I'm really pleased with how the camp one came out, and want to thank my the marketing team and also our staff administrator, Marla Famigletti, for her hard work, and also our IT connection, Erin Brown, who really helped bring this this part of our website to this new level. So I hope you're pleased. That concludes my report. Back to you, Shauna.
Okay, thank you, Helen. This is Shauna Kitzman. Are there any comments, I guess, first from the committee? Questions? Kudos to Greg for taking this call in the dark. I saw he lost power. He's really committed.
I have a question if it's appropriate.
Yeah.
This is Robin Collins. Helen, I just wanted to know, is when you say it's the spring summer camp brochure online, does that refer to just spring or summer camps, or spring, or have you combined? Because we used to do one that was just camps, and then we used to do another brochure that was spring summer programs, not camps. Are they all intertwined now?
They're all, thank you. This is Helen Rubino Turco. Great question, Robin. Yes, they're all combined.
Okay.
This is a virtual document. So while we are printing a small run of these, maybe 3,000, we're not doing a 30,000 run and mailing them. So we're saving funding on the mailing and the printing of the brochures. And we also found that a lot of people were really doing everything online anyway. And so we'll have printed copies of this in all leisure services facilities, as well as the libraries. And we'll also have some available at our public elementary schools. But yes, this is a combined document. It also gives us the ability, as you know, to make changes and update it much faster.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And I'm not sure if there are participants on the phone from the public. If so, now is your time to make a comment or ask a question.
This is Helen. I don't see anyone that has called in.
Okay. So with that, our next meeting is scheduled to be March 21st at 5:30 p.m. We are going to be switching. I see in our agenda it says we'll be at the Elmwood Community Center, but we're actually going to be hosting again via WebEx, just as the town has asked that we don't flip-flop between virtual and online, and I think it made sense that we moved to virtual again, unfortunately. So we'll stick with this till April, and then we'll reassess. Hopefully we can meet outside at some point or two over the summer. Helen, are we good? Can we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Shauna, and thank you everyone for participating.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, can we get a second?
Second, Robin Collins.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, everybody. Have a good start to your 2022.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Everyone.
bye.